إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل وسلم عليه وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعه بإحسان إلى يوم الدين وبعد. Inshallah, to continuing along our series with the book Ad-Da'a wa Dawa by Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah. We discussed how basically the shaytan tries to weaken a person through his sins, and the Imam was drawing an analogy of how two armies compete or fight with each other, and the shaytan will use all his soldiers and his weapons against the believer to try to reach the goal, which is the believer's heart, and corrupt the heart. And the believer will try his best to put up his defenses to prevent this from happening. And the most important defense is to protect the heart. So he continues along that topic. He says, وَمِنْ عُقُوبَاتِهَا, and the sins, from the evil effects of the sins, أَنَّهَا مَدَدْ مِنَ الْإِنسَانِ يُمَدُّ بِهِ عَدُوَهُ عَلَيْهِ وَجَيْشٌ يُقَوِّيهِ بِهِ عَلَى حَرْبِهِ وَذَلِكَ أَنَّ اللَّهَ سُبْحَانَهُ ابتلي هذا الإنسان بعدو لا يفارقه طرفة عين ولا ينام منه ولا يغفل عنه. So he's saying that when the person falls into sins, he's providing support for his own enemies, meaning the shaitan, and it strengthens the army of the shaitan. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written in His wisdom, He has tried the person or human beings with this enemy. This enemy, the shaitan, he doesn't sleep, not even like an eye blink. His eyes don't blink at all. He's always watching to try to get into your heart, to try to corrupt you. And he doesn't lose sight of you. Like, he has his goal to try to corrupt you. That's his goal, and he's always seeking for ways to make you slip. And as soon as you slip, he gets in from that direction. So he's saying this is from the test that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put upon Bani Adam. And the more you fall into sin, the easier it is for you to slip, and the easier it is for the shaitan's army to take over. وَهُوَ يَرَاهُ هُوَ وَقَبِيلُهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَرَاهُ. And so this is a very difficult enemy. He can see us, but we can't see him. ويبذل جهده في معادته في كل حال ولا يدع أمرا يكيده به بقدر على إصاله إليه إلا أوصله إليه. And he strives his utmost to affect you, and he doesn't leave any path untrodden to try to get to you. ويستعين عليه ببني جنسه من شياطين الجن ومن غيرهم من شياطين الإنس. And he seeks assistance from his offspring or his own people, meaning the jinn, and the shayateen, the devils of the human beings. So he's using all these people to try to get to you, to try to get to the people, to try to get to your heart. وقال أعوانه دونكم عدوكم وعدو أبيكم لا يفوتكم ولا يكون حظه الجنة وحظكم النار ونصيبه الرحمة ونصيبكم اللعنة. So he tells his offspring, like Imam Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah is painting a picture. So you see, like, the shaitan is the general, and he's telling his army or telling his offspring and his people, don't let the children of Adam have their share of the Jannah, and you are in the hellfire, and let them have their share of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala while you retain his curse. So he's encouraging him to, these are your enemies. Don't let them get the goodness that Allah has promised them. Since they are cursed and they are in the hellfire, try to get as many of them, of Bani Adam, with us, meaning the shayateen. وقد علمتم أن ما جري علي وعليكم من الخزي والإبعاد عن رحمة الله بسببه ومن أجله فأبذلوا جهدكم أن يكونوا شركاؤنا في هذه البلية. And he's telling them, you know that whatever happened to me and whatever happened to you, meaning the shaitan and his offspring or his helpers, is because of them, meaning the Bani Adam, the children of Adam. All this disgrace that we have and all this being away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy is because of them, because of you, the children of Adam. So these are your enemies, take advantage of them, try to get to them. ولما علم سبحانه أن آدم وبنيه قد بلوا بهذا العدو وأنه قد سلط عليهم أمدهم بمعاسكر وجند يلقونه بها وأمد عدوهم أيضا بجند وعسكر يلقونهم بها. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows from His wisdom that this is going to be the case, there's going to be a battle between the shaitan and the children of Adam, He's given each of them, each of the two parties, armies or soldiers to strengthen them with. وأقام سوق الجهاد في هذه الدار في مدة العمر. And he established the battle or the fight in this world for your lifetime, basically. This is a continuous battle from the cradle into the grave. التي هي الإضافة إلى الآخرة كنفس واحدة من أنفاسها واشترى من المؤمنين أنفسهم وأموالهم بأن لهم الجنة يقاتلون في سبيل الله أن ذلك وعد مؤكد عليه في أشرف كتبه وهي التوراة والإنجيل والقرآن. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised, or He said that He has purchased the souls of the believers so that they will, with the price of Jannah. He's giving them Jannah in return for their souls or for themselves, because they fight in His cause. And He's saying this is a promise that has been one of the most honorable promises that's been promised to us in the Torah, in the Injil, and the Quran. So He's saying that this battle has been promised to us. We're going to have a battle from the birth to the death. And the main battle is to protect our hearts and to get to the Jannah with a pure heart. And our main enemy is the shaytan, and that's who we're battling against. So this is what the Imam is continuing along his chapter in this battlefield. فأعقد سبحانه لواء هذه الحرب لخلاصة مخلوقاته هو القلب الذي هو محل معرفته ومحبته وعبوديته والإخلاص له والتوكل عليه والإنابة إليه فلولا أمره هذا الحرب. So he's saying that the purpose or he's given like the flag of the battle for you to carry, so that will be your basically protection of your heart, so that your heart the heart is the place where you know Allah, that you love Allah, that you worship Allah, that you have ikhlas for Allah, that you have tawakkul of Allah. And he's saying that, so this battle is like basically you're protecting that heart so you can have all these good deeds and worship Allah correctly. And he's saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent down angels to help you in this battle. لهم معقبات من بين يديه ومن خلفه يحفظونه من أمر الله. He's saying that He has the angels that are in front of them and behind them. They are protecting them by the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So from your jaysh, from your army, from your soldiers is the angels Allah has sent to help you in this battle. يعاقب بعضهم بعضا كلما ذهب بدل جاء بدل آخر يثبتونه ويأمرون بالخير ويحضرونه عليه ويعادونه بكرامة الله ويصبرونه ويقولون إنما هو صبر الساعة وقد استرحت راحة أبد. So he's saying the angels, they come every time there's someone, the angels are protecting you, and they take turns basically. When one group or party of the angels leave, another comes to protect you, and they make you firm, and they encourage you with goodness, and they make a shield for you, and they give you the honor and the protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they give you the vision and the foresight to know what's good and know what's wrong. And he's saying the angels tell you or whisper to you, be patient, just a short time, a short hour, and you'll be relaxed forever. So this dunya, they're talking about being patient in just for a short time, and the next life inshallah you'll be relaxing forever. ثم أمده سبحانه بجنود آخر من وحيه وكلامه فأرسل إليه رسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم وأنزل إليه كتابه فازداد قوة إلى قوته. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also added to your weaponry or your soldiers or your army the wahi, His words, and He sent His messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and He's given the messenger His book. So all these are weapons from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for us to take or to fight against the shaitan with. وَيَدَهُ مَعَ ذَلِكَ بِالْعَقْلِ وَزِيرًا لَهُ وَمَدِيرًا وَبِالْمَعْرَفِ مَشِيرَةً عَلَيْهِ نَاصِحَةً لَهُ وَبِالْإِيمَانِ مُثَبَّتًا لَهُ مُؤَيِّدًا وَنَاصِرًا وَبِالْيَقِينِ كَاشِفًا لَهُ عَنِ الْحَقِيقَةِ الْأَمْرِ أو عن حقيقة الأمر. He said that also Allah has given you the aql, the logic or the mind that will become like a minister for you, for the defense. And He's given you the ability to know knowledge which will show you and guide you the right way and give you the proper nasiha. And He's given you iman, which makes you firm in the battlefield. And He's given you yaqeen, which will give you the ability to distinguish between right and wrong. See who your enemies really are, so you can know them and fight against them. حتى كأنه يعاين ما وعد الله تعالى به أولياءه وحزبه على جهاده أعدائه في العقل يدبر أمر جيشه والمعرفة تصنع له أمور الحرب وأسبابها ومواضيعها اللائقة بها والإيمان يثبته ويقويه ويصبره واليقين يقدم به ويحمل به الهملات الصادقة. So he's saying, basically repeating that the aql is like the one that does the planning for you in the battlefield, and the ma'rifah, it shows you which plan of action to take in the battlefield, and the iman is what makes you firm in your decision and gives you the correct foresight, and the yaqeen is what carries you through till the end. When you have yaqeen in the battlefield, you know for sure that this life is temporary and that the next life is forever. You'll be able to face the enemy and you'll be able to continue on in the battle and inshallah reach your goal, which is Jannah. ثم أمد سبحانه القائم بهذه الحرب بالقوي الظاهرة والباطنة أو بالقوة الظاهرة والباطنة فجعل العين الطريعة والأذن صاحب لخبره واللسان ترجمان واليدين والرجلين أعوانه وقام ملائكته وحملة عرشه يستغفرون له ويسألون له أن يقيه السيئات ويدخله الجنات. He's saying Allah has also provided you your bodily functions, from the eyesight to your hearing to your tongue to your hands to your feet. All of these things are to help you in serving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every single body limb that Allah has given you serves a purpose, and the main purpose of our life is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you must use these bodily limbs, the eyesight, the hearing, the vision, all these things to serve Allah. If you misuse them, that's how you serve the shaytan, or you fall prey to the shaytan. And he says Allah from His mercy has given us angels, the ones who bear the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يَسْتَغْفِرُونَ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. They make istighfar for those who are believers. You can imagine the most honorable angels. In one hadith, the description is that from their earlobe to their shoulder is 500 years. You know how great they are. They're holding the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they make dua for you, for the believers. And they ask Allah to forgive you. And they ask Allah to make you firm. And they ask Allah to cover all your sins and to enter you into paradise. And Allah, so He's saying all of these things that He's mentioned are part of the party of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. أُولَٰئِكَ حِزْبُ اللَّهِ أَلَا إِنَّ حِزْبَ اللَّهِ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. This is the party of Allah, and verily the party of Allah are the victorious, or the successful ones. And He says, وَإِنَّ جُنْدَنَا لَهُمُ الْغَالِبُونَ. And verily our army are the ones who will win, or the ones who will be victorious. So when we implement these gifts that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us and use them for khair, Allah will strengthen us and make our army even stronger, and we'll be able to overcome the shaitan and his plans and enter into Jannat al-Rahman, the paradise of the most merciful. وعلم سبحانه وعباده كيفية هذه الحرب والجهاد فجمعها لهم في 4 كلمات. He said that, and Allah has told us how to act in this battle, right? How to act in this fight, and He combined it in 4 main words. One ayah in Surah Ali Imran, the last ayah of Surah Ali Imran. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اصبروا وصابروا ورابطوا واتقوا الله لعلكم تفلحون. So the Imam is saying, in any battle you need these 4 characteristics to succeed. اصبروا, have patience. Sabiru, stand firm, continue upon the patience, struggle, strive. Rabitu, guard, protect. Wattaqullah, and you have to have taqwa, the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, la'allakum tuflihun, so that you will be of the successful. And he says if any one of those requirements are missing, then the battle could be lost. So he's saying this one ayat basically combines all you need for a successful victory. And he says وَلَا يُتِمُّ أَمْرَ هَذَا الْجِهَادِ إِلَّا بِهَذِهِ الْأُمُورِ الْأَرْبَعِ. So the jihad cannot be complete except with these 4 characteristics. فَلَا يُتِمُّ الصَّبْرِ إِلَّا بِمُصَابَرَةِ الْعَدُوِ. So sabr cannot be achieved except with struggling against the enemy. وَهِي مُقَاوَمَتُهُ وَمُنَازِلَتُهُ. And it's basically struggling against him, fighting against him. فَإِذَا صَابَرَ عَدُوَهُ احْتَجَّ إِلَى أَمْرٍ آخِرٍ وَهُوَ الْمُرَابَطَةِ. So if you're able to be patient against the enemy and stand firm and struggle, the Imam says you need something else, and that's murabata, right? So in battle, when you're going forward and you're achieving victories, you need to have guards in place to keep those victories safe. So he's saying you need murabata. Murabitin are the ones who stand like in the front lines basically, or in the back lines guarding the ranks. So he's saying that you need this as well to be successful in your battle. وهو لزوم ثغر القلب وحراسته لئلا يدخل منه العدو. And this is the guards of the heart and keeping the heart safe so that the enemies cannot enter into it. وَلُزُومَ الثَّغْرِ الْعَيْنِ وَالْأُذْنِ وَالْلِسَانِ وَالْبَطْنِ وَالْيَدِّ وَالْرِجْلِ, and guarding the boundaries of the eyesight and the hearing and the tongue and the hand and the feet. All these are like entry points the enemy can come to you with, the shaitan can get into you with. Through the eyesight, he's going to go into each one basically with a little bit of detail, but through the eyesight, looking at something haram, or the shaitan can enter into that. Listening to something haram, shaitan can get into your heart through that way. Going forward to something you're not supposed to be going to, shaitan gets in through that way. Any little opening in the boundaries, the shaitan will take his chance and get into it. So that's how the people must, the mu'min, the believer, has to prepare and guard these entries, guard these points, these gifts that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, and use them for good, so the shaitan cannot enter. فهذه الثغور منها يدخل العدو فيجوس خلال الديار ويفسد ما قدر عليه. فالمرابطة لزوم هذه الثغور ولا يخلى مكانه فيصادف العدو الثغر خاليا فيدخل منه. So he's saying the believer, he always has guards upon these entry points, so that if he leaves it unavailable, the shaitan will enter from it, or the enemy will be able to enter from it. فهؤلاء أصحاب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم خير الخلق بعد النبيين والمرسلين وعظمهم حماية وحراسة من الشياطين وقد أخلوا المكان الذي أمروا بلزومه يوم أحد فدخل منه العدو فكان ما كان. So he's saying the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they are the best of people after the prophets and the messengers, right? And the Prophet had ordered them on the Day of Judgment to guard a certain boundary, the mountain of Uhud, and not to leave it no matter what. But because they didn't follow the order of the Prophet ﷺ, their enemies were able to enter in upon them. And you know what happened, you know the story of Uhud, how many Sahaba were killed because they didn't follow the order of the Prophet ﷺ. So he's saying the same thing, when you let down your guard, anytime you let down your guard, you're leaving it open for the enemy to enter into it, and it can destroy you. So be very careful to have murabata, basically. And then he says the taqwa, that's the seal of all of it. وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ, and fear Allah that you may be of the successful ones. And the taqwa is the key to all success. All the actions you do, if you do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for His fear, staying away from what He's forbidden and doing what He's commanded, inshallah you will reap the rewards and be successful and enter into paradise, and He'll give you the furqan in this life to get you to the Jannah in the next life. وَمَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَل لَهُ فُرْقَانًا, whoever fears Allah, Allah will give him the criterion. وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهُ يُعَلِّمَكُمُ اللَّهُ, fear Allah and Allah will teach you. He will show you what's right, what's wrong, how to succeed, how to get close to Him. Right? And there's many ayat talking about the fruits of taqwa, and that's the seal of all your actions basically. If you have these four, inshallah you will be from the successful ones. And then he goes on to talk about the meeting of the two armies. Where do they meet? What's the battlefield? To summarize, it's a long section, but he's just saying it's the heart. That's where the battle, that's what you're trying to guard as the believer, your heart, to keep it pure from nifaq and from riya and from hasad and all these evil sicknesses of the heart. You're protecting yourself from it. And the shaitan, his main goal is to get into the heart. And he's going to use these outward things that we're talking about. He'll go into detail to talk about how he gets into the heart. فمتى دخلت منها إلى القلب فهو قتيل أو أسير وجريحا مثقا بالجراحات ولا يخلو هذه الثغور. He's saying that once the shaitan is able to enter into the heart, the person becomes like a captive. When you're in battle and you fall prey to the enemy, you become a captive of the enemy. He's saying the shaitan, once he enters through one of these boundaries and gets to your heart, then you become a captive. You either become injured like jarih, or you become taken completely, and we seek refuge in Allah from that. So these are the analogies he's drawing, and then he gets into the thaqr of the ayn. فَإِذَا اسْتَوَلَيْتُمْ عَلَى هَذِهِ الثُّغُورِ, he's telling, basically he's continuing along with the analogy, telling the shaitan is telling his helpers, if you can now, try to get into the eyesight. فَإِذَا اسْتَوَيْتُمْ عَلَى هَذِهِ الثُّغُورِ فَامْنَعُوا ثَغْرَ الْعَيْنِ أَنْ يَكُونَ نَظْرُهُ اعْتِبَارًا بَلْ اجْعَلُوا نَظْرَةً تَفَرَّجًا وَاسْتِحْسَانًا وَتَلَهِّيًا. He's saying, if you can get affected him through his eyesight, then don't let him use his eyesight for goodness, like to ponder upon the creation of Allah, to read the Quran, to look at those things that are beautiful, that increase your iman, but get them to be distracted with things that are wrong or haram. Look at, for example, pornographic pictures. Look at things that are not good for you. Look at people that you're not supposed to be around. Stuff like that. The more he can corrupt you, he's telling his servants, the more you can get to his heart and corrupt him. Right? So that's what the shaitan's trying to get through your eyesight. That's the gift. And the Prophet ﷺ, he told us, every child of Adam has his portion of zina written upon him. And the zina of the eye is the nazar, looking. Right? The adultery, the fornication of the eye is the looking. And the adultery of the tongue is the talking, or the mouth, some say, another narration, is the kissing, or the hand is the touching, and the foot is walking towards it, and the private parts confirm it or deny it, right? So the bodily parts, they play a major action in affecting the heart. And the more the one uses the eyesight for haram, the more the heart can become corrupted. So the scholars, they say that from the things that you want to guard the most amongst the senses is the eyesight, because that one glimpse can affect a person and take him away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They said also the tongue. We talked about the tongue last week a little bit. The Prophet ﷺ, he warned us that كثرة الكلام أو كثرة الضحك تميت القلب. Too much talking or too much laughter can actually kill the heart. Right? And the button, the stomach, ما امتلأ ابن آدم وعاء شر من بطنه. That the child of Adam didn't fill something up more evil than his stomach. When you eat to excess, when you talk to excess, when you look at stuff, excessively that you're not supposed to be looking at. Allah says, كل المؤمنين يغضوا من أبصارهم. Tell the believing men that they should lower their gaze. And the same thing for the women. كل المؤمنات يغضضن من أبصارهن. Tell the women that they should lower their gaze. Why? Because the eyesight is a key to the heart. These senses that we have as a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our bodily functions, they are pathways to serve Him and can raise us up very high in worship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But there also can be pathways of the shaitan that he uses to get to our hearts and corrupt us and bring us to the low. Right? So we have to be very careful how we use these gifts from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and be always guarding upon this gift of the eyesight. So he says in the translation of this part, the shaitan, he tells his soldiers to go and find the heart of the believer, and sitting around, he's sitting on his throne, basically telling his helpers to go and try to attack the believers, try to get to their hearts, whichever way you can, and use whatever tools you can. And he starts with the eyes. He says, prevent the eyesight from being used as a discernment or to look at good things, but make it a distraction and use them to look at bad things. And when you use his eyes to make him fall in love with something that's unacceptable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and trick him. Start out, so the shaitan, he's saying, to summarize, that the shaitan will come to somebody and say, look at this beautiful thing, right? And he'll start looking at it and say, this is from the creation of Allah, from that form of worship. But it's something he's not supposed to be looking at. And so that's how the shaitan gets to him. And then the look becomes longer, and then it starts going to actions, right? Or even how he gets some people to commit shirk or wahdat al-wujud, like some of the extreme groups. They start looking upon the creation of Allah and seeing how beautiful it is, and saying that Allah is actually physically part of the creation. He's one with the creation, right? This is the trick that shaitan gets the people to come outside of Islam even sometimes, through the eyesight, right? So all these tricks we want to be aware of and try to use our sight. He also wants to use the eyesight, he says, to corrupt the mind. Because the more that somebody looks at something that's not permissible, the more the mind can become corrupted, right? And even then, non-Muslims have done, a lot of studies about the evil effects of pornography. When people become addicted to that and looking at that over and over again, it actually can corrupt the mind. It weakens the ability to achieve goals sometimes. It's like a physical and mental sickness. All that started with the look. So the shaitan comes little by little and uses the look to corrupt the person. So a mu'min, a believer, he seeks refuge in Allah from using his eyesight for those things that are displeasing to Allah. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect our eyesight and look at only those things that are pleasing to Him. The second opening he tries to get to is the if he is the hearing, the ears, so he wants people to listen to falsehood, backbiting, namima, lies, propaganda, anything that distracts you from the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is another madkhal from the shaytan. This is the thaghar that we have to do murabata from, having our guards up, guarding our hearing. Be very careful what you allow into your ears, because it's also a way into the heart and into the mind. Somebody can say something and it gets in your head and it won't leave it, and it can start causing doubt, and it can have a person fall into major, I've seen actually some brothers that got deep into studying philosophy and certain un-Islamic things, listening to this stuff over and over again, and they became affected in their deen. They started coming up with ideas and beliefs that are not part of Islam, right? Because they allowed anything to come into the ears. The Salaf, rahimahumullah, they used to be very careful what they listened to. Even some of them, when they're passing by certain sounds, they put their fingers in their ears so they won't get the chance of being corrupted. And these were scholars of Islam, right? So how about us? And many of us know that we've heard some songs for the in the past when we were younger, for example, and we can still recite the words sometimes word for word. But the Quran sometimes it's difficult. Why? Because the shaitan, he wants to corrupt the hearing, the gift of hearing, with those things that are not beneficial. So always try to listen to that which is pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you hear those things that are not pleasing to Allah, stay away from it. Don't let people backbite in front of you. Don't let people spread namima or make rumors in front of you. Be careful even when you listen to the news all the time. That stuff is propaganda, and they have an agenda, and they're pumping certain messages all the time. So be careful even with the news, And it's not good, it's not healthy to always listen to the news, because a lot of it's not that great. Occupy yourself with listening to the Quran, listening to lectures, listening to stuff that will increase your iman. These are things that inshallah will benefit you and strengthen your heart, as opposed to weakening the heart. And the third thing he talks about is the tongue. The shaitan tells his servants, attack his tongue. This is the greatest opening, that it operate and with self-destructive words, preventing him from using beneficial words, and preventing him from remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or seeking forgiveness from Allah. Like we said last week, the dhikr, if you're busy with remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you don't have time to talk about foolish stuff. But the shaitan wants you to do the opposite. He wants to enter into, for the tool of the tongue to corrupt you and get into your heart and take you away from the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So spreading false rumors, spreading backbiting. If you know something's going to make somebody upset and you go and tell them, that's not a good thing to do. Even if it's true. You don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, you don't want to spread rumors, you don't want to cause animosity between two brothers or two sisters. You always want to be careful of what you say. The Sahaba radiallahu anhu, they were very careful about the words that they spoke. Like Abu Bakr, he would put rocks in his mouth sometimes just to get him, so he knows what he's saying, and he would grab his tongue and say woe to you, what have you done to me? This is Abu Bakr and Umar. These are like some of the best of the Sahaba. They were so scared about their tongue, right? One narration says that Aisha radiallahu anha, she was joking with the Prophet ﷺ, talking about one of his other wives, and she went like this, meaning that she's like a little bit short. And the Prophet ﷺ said that you said a word that if it was like put into the oceans, it would have corrupted all the oceans, right? Just one tiny thing like that, just saying like a joke, that somebody's short or something, that can corrupt all the oceans. Imagine how strong some of the words that we say, not paying attention to it. So it's very dangerous to let the tongue be loose. Always try to control it. When you speak, think, is this going to be beneficial? Is what I'm saying going to benefit me or those around me? If not, think twice about speaking. It's not, this culture is always encouraged to speak and to talk about everything all the time, no matter what. Like, I see some of the stuff people watch on, these vlogs or these other types of things, and I can't believe it. Like, they spend hours watching people talk about foolishness. Like, nothing beneficial whatsoever. If you could take a lecture on studying math or physics or business or how to make money or how to better yourself or how to use your time wisely, alhamdulillah, let alone the Islamic classes and durus. But people watching other people live their lives and playing pranks and just joking and saying foolishness, spending hours upon hours watching this stuff, I don't get it, So that's the the thing about letting the tongue loose and saying anything any time. Be careful about that, and be careful of encouraging others to do that. So these are the three major boundaries or entry points that shaitan tries to get in through, and there's others, inshallah, we can finish off next week. طيب inshallah. Next week we'll continue بإذن الله. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. جزاكم الله خيرا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.